So it turns out that these women in the women's soccer team who are demanding more money actually get paid more than men. Or I should say the top earners make more than the top male earners. What's up with that gender wage gap, man? I thought men were earning more than women. But in court filings submitted, it turns out that's not true. The top women earned more than the top men. And now for the kicker, the most frustrating and annoying kicker. Guess what their response was? Their response was, but we should make more, and we would if we had the same collective bargaining agreement as them. What? They claim they played more games and won more, therefore they should make more money. Well, you negotiate that, dude. But hold on. Every single time the gender pay gap comes up, we all collectively sigh and say that the gender wage gap does not take into account job for job. It compares the aggregate earnings of all men to the aggregate earnings of all women. So you're comparing male petroleum engineers to female school teachers, right? Should female school teachers now go, well, we'd make more money if we were petroleum engineers, so we deserve a raise? No, that makes no sense. Guess what? Men tend to work more hours than women, so men make more money. That's just obvious. You work more, you get paid more. Well, they're arguing it shouldn't be that way. They should get paid even more. But you already do work more and get paid more. It's absolutely insane. It's just people who want money who are already rich. Let me show you just how rich they really are. Okay, they're upper class, fine. They're not the 1%. They say the U.S. Soccer Federation, defending itself against a gender discrimination suit from the U.S. women's soccer team last week, submitted court filings asserting that 4 U.S. women's national team players were paid more than the highest earning player on the U.S. men's team over a period of about 6 years. On Monday, the women's team responded in a filing that there's a reason for that. The women played more games, just like the men worked more hours. I don't care about that argument. If you're not gonna address the argument in good faith every time we talk about it, I don't care about your argument today. They say including prevailing in 2 World Cups. Though comparisons are difficult because the men's and women's teams play under different collective bargaining agreements, it's your contract, dude. They just want money. People just want power. They're pretending this is about gender. It's not. It's about people who just want more power. They say the filings provide the most detailed assertions yet of how top women's players' pay lines up with their male counterparts. Turns out they make more. They say 4 U.S. women's players, Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe, and Becky Sauerbrunn, each earned a total of $1.1 million to $1.2 million for their national team play between March 30th, 2014 and September 30th, 2019, according to U.S. Soccer Filings. So that's a period of around, 5.5 years, just about nearly 6 years. And so I could be wrong, but doing the basic math from $1 million, you break that down over 6 years, you've got 72 months. So they're getting like $10,000 to $15,000 per month. Am I wrong on that? I'm doing it quick. Forgive me. I'm not a math, super genius. I'm pretty good. I'm not bad. By comparison, the income of the single men's national team player who earned the most in the aggregate during the 2014 and 19 period was $993,967. And there it is. 4 women earned more than the top man. Argument done. Can we go home now? The women's filing countered that each of the 4 women's players named in U.S. Soccer's filings would have earned at least $225 million more over nearly 6 years if they'd achieved their team's same results under the U.S. men's team compensation policy. Oh, I'm sorry. $200,000 a year isn't enough. I understand that men don't make that much, but if we had the same collective bargaining agreement, which by the way is our own fault, we would be making $400,000 a year. What's the sympathy? What am I supposed to sympathize with here? You're rich. Okay, I get it. You're not super filthy rich. You're upper class. But dude, you're making several $100,000 a year, okay? You know what the average median income is? It was like $37,000, and you're making more than the guys. It's just so annoying. It's all fake. It's all fake. That's what it is. In a declaration for the court, Becca Rue, executive director of the U.S. Women's Players Association, summarized the U.S. women's greater tallies of games and victories and how they translated to pay. From January 1st, 2017 to October 7th, 2019, the U.S. women won 83% of their games, while the men won 48% of their games. So what? If you pay me to make a burger and I make the burger bad, you can't pay me more or less. Here's a lesson for you in the real world. When you're working a job and you make the world's best burger, your salary doesn't go up. You can ask for a raise later. You negotiated this contract. Ask for a raise. You're suing. They say the women played 58 matches while the men played 44, the declaration says. Oh, heavens. So when men work more hours and the feminists come out and complain that men are making more money, why is that? Why are you... You see how the game works. For matches played between March 30th, 2014 to October 7th, 2019, Morgan's pay under the women's collective bargaining agreements, for instance, was $1,201,449.64, according to Rue's calculation. If Morgan had posted the same results under the men's team's collective bargaining agreements, she would have been paid $4 million, the declaration said. That includes prize money for winning 2 World Cups. How is that a gender disparity that you negotiated a contract and now you're upset on the terms? I believe they should be thrown out immediately. They're trying to use gender disparity to negate they're trying to use social justice because they have a bad contract. I'm sorry, you can't do that. It's not how it works in business. You hire lawyers, you negotiate pay, you get paid what you negotiate. And the same is true for individuals. If I get hired at a job and I get paid $100,000 a year, and a woman gets hired and she gets paid 60, it's not the fault of the company. You didn't ask for the money. So maybe there's a societal problem where women don't negotiate. Here we can see it in big, bold numbers. For whatever reason, they negotiated poorly. Are we done? Can we go home? No, apparently not. Apparently, even though it's their collective bargaining agreement, even though they still get paid more than men, we're still here facing a lawsuit where they're alleging gender pay inequity or whatever. They say, Molly Levinson, a spokeswoman for the U.S. women's players, called the results of the comparison the very definition of gender discrimination. Yeah, against men. Why? Because the women are getting paid more? U.S. Soccer has said that the women agreed to their current collective bargaining agreements, which runs 2017 to 2021, and that any pay differences between the men's and women's teams are due not to gender, but to the team's separate agreements. End of story. That's just it. There's no sexism. It's quite literally, you're getting what you asked for. You negotiated, you're done. A round of mediation talks failed in August. If the case isn't resolved out of court, it's scheduled to go to trial May 5th, 2020. And I absolutely hope they lose. I hope they lose. I hope they have to pay extra fees. It's so frustrating. You guys know Shoe on Head, the YouTuber? She has that video where she has a button and she presses it. And it says that, basically the gender wage gap is the aggregate earnings of all men and women. It does not take into account job type or hours worked. And then she throws it. Throwing it was completely warranted. And that's exactly how I feel. I want to just flip the monitor up and be like, I'm done. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to destroy my monitor is really nice. It's 4K. It's beautiful. No, but the reality is, whenever we hear these stories, I want you to remember that they will twist the logic to benefit themselves. In this instance, the women are getting paid more. Well, yeah, they work more. They played more games. So they played 14 more games. So, okay, so they're getting paid comparably. I mean, I guess if they got 1.2 million and the top guy got 993, sounds comparable, 14 games. Maybe they would have got paid a little bit more. But why should they deserve more money? And at the same time, the argument is levied against everyone else that it doesn't matter what the job type is. Here's the point I made a while ago about a Vox video. Vox ran a story that actually pointed out the gender wage gap was due to men and women working different jobs for different hours. And they still argued it needed to be closed. And that said to me that this particular argument wasn't about ending sexism. It was about implementing socialism, but it was using social justice as a shield. And that's one thing they often do. You look at the climate protests, and they hold up signs for communism. I cannot stand communists because they weasel their slimy little hands into all of these important causes and then just rub communism all over it. No, communism is not the solution to everything. Just stop and go away. But if it's true that these women know, okay, men work more hours on average and get paid more, but they still demand having their pay equalized, it means they want to work less for more money. If it's true that they know this, it means that this lawsuit presented is bad faith. And they know they negotiated their contract. Could you imagine if I got a contract, if you got a contract, and then you found out someone else with a different contract in a different field, let's say there's two people and they both negotiated a job, and then one person finds out the other person makes more money and they get angry about it. We're not a communist country here, man. You come to my company, I say, what do you want? You say you want X, I give you X. You can't then get mad later that you didn't get Y when you didn't ask for it. You want to negotiate? I'll say fine, but you agreed to this contract. The contract is due in 2021. We'll talk about it. They know this. They're manipulative. They're playing a game. They just want more money. I'm sorry $200,000 a year wasn't enough for you. I'm sorry you make several, 7 times or so what the median income in this country is. I'm sorry that wasn't enough for you, okay? I don't care about your arguments or your social justice when it comes down to you already being well off and manipulating the argument. I'm going to stop. I'll wrap it up. I'll see you guys tomorrow on this channel at 10 a.m. All this news has been frustrating. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order a pizza and I'm going to chill out and I'll come back refreshed tomorrow. Podcast at 6:30 p.m. I'll see y'all next time.